There is a big misconception about introverts, and many extroverts think introverts are antisocial, they're unfriendly, they're shy, they struggle with social anxiety, they don't like being around people, and that's not the case. One of the biggest distinctions that will help for introverts to better understand themselves, if they don't know this already, and for extroverts to understand introverts, is that introverts get drained in social interactions. It's an expenditure. Their energy is a limited resource, and socializing is an expense. It takes energy for them to socialize. And when you have a limited resource, you want to conserve it. And a lot of people will get offended because of how an introvert socializes. They like to socialize in small doses. They don't like to be in big groups. They don't like to be in crowds. And these are generalizations. Obviously, there's exceptions to these. But they are more comfortable in one-on-ones. Not even more comfortable. They just enjoy it more in having deeper, richer, more meaningful, substantial conversations. Again, there are definitely exceptions to this. And when you are an introvert, you might have the belief that you're a loner, you don't like to be around people, people are annoying, I don't want to bother with people, you'll isolate yourself. A lot of introverts will spend excessive amount of time at home alone, on the internet, a lot of screen time, and then they can't understand why they don't feel content, why they don't feel fulfilled. And because at heart, we are social beings. Even introverts need other people. From our evolution, we're evolved to be in tribes and to need the support and connection and help of other people. And when you're an introvert, it can be hard to get that. Now, if you add that you're an introvert and on top of it, you're a black sheep, like you're a nonconformist, or you just don't think like everybody else, or you have different beliefs than what the mainstream has, that makes it even more challenging, because now you're not only an introvert, and introverts are probably around 40% of the population, but now of those 40%, you got to find a group of people that you can connect with and bond with. And I'm a high-level introvert, and what I noticed that I'm very frugal about how I spend my time and how I socialize, and it's very easy to get bored in social situations because I haven't taken my needs into consideration. And I even have clients like this, is they'll say yes to social things and then they'll later regret it, or they'll go and they won't have a good time. And you should write out what your requirements are. For socializing, some of the requirements for me is someone that is, first and foremost, I think one of the things that is really helpful to me is being around other people who read books. Preferably not only fiction books, non-fiction books as well, but there's something very special about people who are avid readers. I find they're more engaging, the conversations, they're more interesting. They don't respond to just like whatever the latest fad is, or the emotional instinctual reaction of society at large. They're more thoughtful, contemplative, and intellectual generally. And I enjoy having an intellectual discussion about them. And even if it's about politics, and it's not going to get overly charged or heated or emotional, and they can back up a lot of what they say with some research or some facts, or they can share some things that they've read in books. Man, being around a reader and becoming an avid reader is like being into physical fitness or going to the gym or going running or just taking care of your health. It's to me, it's the same thing to the body what it is to the brain. The weightlifting to the body, books are to the brain. And it's sad is with the internet age, people really struggle with reading. But if that's something that's important to you, then you write that down and you make that part of the social circle that you seek out. Maybe you join a book club. There's now with what everything's going on and things have moved to online, there's some great online groups that you could find that discuss books or that are more intellectual and have deeper, more philosophical conversations. There are meetup groups like this. A lot of them are going to be online for now, but still, doing it online is better than sitting and watching YouTube or scrolling social media or Netflix. Another requirement, this is big for me, another requirement for socializing is someone that takes an interest in you by asking questions. I'm always amazed how often I'll meet new people or even people that I'm kind of semi-friendly with or that I'm friendly with and will go out. I'm not talking about my real close friends. And how rarely they ask questions to get to learn about you, to get to know you on a deeper level. Generally, they'll ask superficial questions like, maybe about what restaurants do you like, or have you seen a good movie, or what about the sports, or what do you think of the politics? But again, it's on a superficial level. It's rare that someone genuinely asks about you beyond your job and wants to get to know what your values are, what your beliefs are, what your hobbies are, what kind of books you read, what alternative thoughts that you might have, what things do you bring you passion, bring you joy, bring you contentment, what are some of your most greatest growth opportunity or growth experiences that you've had in your life. Just giving an example of things that will allow us to connect with other people. What makes you sad? What makes you sad? What makes you happy? And you're gonna have to work your way up. You can't just start off the bat with these really deep questions. But even initially, just people are very self-involved, or they're not good at question asking, or they don't feel comfortable, and they just avoid it. And then it's a one-way conversation. It's me asking them questions or them steering the conversation towards things that I really just don't care about. So that would be a second requirement. The other requirement is, are they a good listener? Are they actively listening, engaged? Do they care about what you're saying, or are they just waiting to talk? And if you watch some of my other videos about how we talk so much, or we talk too much, and to talk less and listen more, you'll understand the importance of that. And it allows you to connect with other people because people will think that you care about them when you become a good listener. There's nothing better than being a good listener and someone that's genuinely interested in other people. When I was a teen, one of the books I read was Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And man, that book to me has aged well. Yeah, there's some things that might not have stood the test of time, but overall, I absolutely love that book because it taught me the importance of connecting with people by being interested in them, and that's what people want. And it's really hard to find that, especially in the internet age with people's short attention span. I mean, you have people that in their 20s primarily were raised on the internet. I mean, cell phones and all that, that's what they know. And they get bored easily. And even adults, I mean, even older people, we all fall victim to this. And you just want to read a great book. It's called The Shallows, and what the internet has done to our brain. And it's prevented us from genuine interactions because we look at them as boring. When you go on YouTube or you're watching Netflix or scrolling social media or checking Twitter, you get that constant dopamine of, oh my God, that's interesting, that's exciting. It's not fulfilling long term because you need the next fix. And making a social connection with someone is like a candle. It's not a firework. And that's the way we've hardwired our brains with all this technology, is to constantly seek fireworks and stimulation and the rich, unhealthy junk food of the mind and the body. And it makes a huge difference when you've developed that patience and that discipline and that interest in being able to look at things as a candle, just like a slow burn. It's going to take time. It's not going to be firecrackers and fireworks. It's going to be like gently getting to know someone without a lot of excitement. Sometimes there'll be excitement, sometimes there's not. And oftentimes that's the most rewarding things. Like when I'm reading a book, it's not like I'm getting excited in the same way, or it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting, but not the same artificial stimulation that you'll get if you go on screens. And it's having that patience and discipline to really get to know someone, and to taking down your guard, letting your guard down, letting your wall, to allow someone to get to know you, and making those types of connections. They're few and far between, but when you make them, they're incredible. And when I was traveling, it happened quite regularly that I would meet people, because you tend to encounter other people who are maybe travelers or vagabonds or more free thinkers, or who have interesting things to share, or like on a spiritual journey, or really working on their self-development or growth, or can share their travel experiences, and you can find a way to connect through that. And there needs to be a vehicle in our social interactions. And most times for introverts, the vehicle that the other person's offering, they don't want to get into. And the vehicle that the introvert's offering, the other person doesn't want to get into. And it might be, a VW camper van that's from the 70s or 80s. It's run down, it's beat up, but it's got a lot of miles and a lot of experiences, and it's got a story to tell. People want to get in the Ferrari and the Porsche and the Lamborghini and the exciting, or the Tesla and the exciting cars. We want that, and it doesn't lead to building character, to building depth, to building knowledge, to building insight, and to building meaningful, fulfilling relationships that are rewarding to you. And that's really the struggle with being an introvert. And if you know what you want, you could be a lot more discerning and not go black or white. Because I notice I'll have a tendency to do that. I'll go black or white. Oh, I'm just, want to be alone. I love being alone. And people, listen, people, ourselves included, myself included, people are annoying. We really are. It's hard to be with people. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be friction. There's going to be things we don't like. In general, I'm sure there's people we get along with, and there's no issue. But in general, it's challenging to be surrounded by people. And I think a lot of introverts, and maybe even extroverts sometimes, just take the easy way out and just say, I'm going to spend my time alone. I'm just going to be alone. I'm going to isolate myself. I'm going to just stay on my screens. And again, then they wonder why they struggle with anxiety, or struggle with depression, or struggle with not feeling a sense of accomplishment. Again, not all cases, there are exceptions. And putting yourself out there, that's really what it takes. And when I'm a life coach, I've been coaching for 11 years, and so I've helped guide and navigate this path for so many people. And it's a really powerful thing when I help my clients find their tribe, or expand their tribe. And when you expand your tribe and you find your type of people, you have that support network, and it's fulfilling. And also, we need other people to challenge us, to help us grow. I mean, that's one of the greatest benefits of coaching, is it really, especially the type of coaching I do, it really helps people to look at their lives from a different perspective that a family member or friend, or even themselves, would not see. And it's not something like, oh, I should be able to do this on my own. I shouldn't need anyone, a coach or anyone else to help me. And it's just not the case. And when you find your tribe, it's amazing how everything, you develop like deep roots, and it just gives you another color to add to your palette, or multiple colors to add to your palette. It's not easy to do, and it's like fishing. You got to go and fish, and there are going to be a lot of bites and a lot of fish that you don't catch. And you just keep on putting yourself out there, keep on putting yourself out. And this same principle applies with dating. The more you put yourself out there, the greater the odds are that you're going to meet the right person that you connect with. And at the same time, not using the excuse, which I get this a lot in coaching, oh, I have to do X, Y, and Z before I start dating or before I start socializing. I have to lose weight. I have to learn more about world events. I have to read more books. It's so easy to fall in that trap to put off things into the future when we can do them and start them today. And it's a lie we tell ourselves to stay within our comfort zone and to avoid our fears. And that is just so unfulfilling. So all the introverts out there, I encourage you to, I love talking just to random strangers, and you never know who you'll bump into and who you'll connect with. I met some really interesting people just having those taking advantage of those brief interactions and conversations, and fishing in the conversation. I'll ask them a deeper question, something about psychology, something about self-development, or something that they're interested but on a deeper level, and see if they reciprocate and they want to have a deeper conversation. And it's most of the time they don't, but there are exceptions, and people do want to have a deeper conversation. And I've had just some amazing encounters and conversations and connections with people just by taking down my mask, not because a lot of introverts play the role of an extrovert, unfortunately, and instead just being ourselves, being our introverted selves, and being our authentic selves, and advertising who we are. And even if that's quirky or weird or eccentric, or people will think we're strange and will get judged, so what? Judgment never killed anyone. I mean, as long as the person's not violent. And it's just so enjoyable to go about life that way, sharing who you are, and that allows the other person to let their guard or their wall down and to share who they are. So if you'd like help in navigating this process, or kind of peeling the layers, the masks away, so we could get more closer to our truer, authentic selves, feel free to send me an email. I do life coaching. It's ridiculously affordable, and I've been doing it for 11 years, like I said. So if you're interested, my email's in the description. And thanks again, everyone. The usual things: if you enjoy this type of content, you want for it to continue, me to make videos like this, it really helps if you comment. You take the 30 seconds to make a comment, subscribe, and like if you enjoy these types of videos. And a number of you are even supporting the channel and helping me out by donating, and that means so much. And some people it's just a small amount, some people it's a monthly amount, some people it's a large amount, and whatever it is, I really, really appreciate it. This is all I do. This is my full-time career. And I enjoy connecting with people and kindred spirits. And if you feel alone, there are other kindred spirits out there. You're just not going to find them sitting alone, staring at a screen in your home. Until next time, bye-bye.